and welcome everybody. Here we are, Slim Slam and the Bandwagon Fan. I'm Slim, he's Slam, and to my left, that's the Bandwagon Fan. Boys, how are we?
Mate, I'm stoked. What a great week of first up.
Yeah.
And so many upsets.
So many upsets, and I think we're going to touch on just how many there are because a few of us got made to look a touch silly this week. But
Very
that's all right. That's all right. Hey, I think what we want to do maybe straight out the gate, and I haven't touched on this off air, and I think I probably should have, is maybe introduce the fact that we've just signed on our first marquee sponsor. The Jersey Cartel is going to support the show moving forward for the first season.
Those day one fans will remember us talking
That's
about.
Right. That's
Jersey
right.
Cartel.
The day one fans. So for all your sporting apparel needs, make sure you check out the Jersey Cartel on Facebook because he's pumping out some really good stuff. I'm really excited to partner up with him and kind of figure out exactly what this is going to look like in the near future. So it's a really exciting start. But maybe, Chucky, speaking of exciting, week one in the books.
Yep.
Like we touched on, a few ups and downs when it came to the tips. So maybe just give us your rough feelings coming out of week one. Talk about your feelings for the boys.
Well, my feelings were a little bit hurt, Blaze, because I only tipped 9 out of 16.
Yeah. Bit light on for wins.
Yep. But obviously the week started pretty well with the Chiefs getting up over the Texans. So
Can't go too far wrong when that happens.
But now, with it being Tuesday night, I'm well and truly over that, and I'm just looking ahead to next week. Who we're going to beat then?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's right. That's the way the Chief wagon is rolling at the moment.
Absolutely.
Whoever you put in front of us, we're going to knock them off. Shanazi, your thoughts?
Mate, I was that impressed with week one.
Yeah.
I was a bit pessimistic, and I was thinking that week one might have been a bit scrappy, might have been a bit of, football rust on a few teams, minimal preseason.
Yeah, not much practice going into it.
Nah, and, I think only 2 weeks of contact drills. And watching the Chiefs and the Texans game, the Chiefs didn't look like they missed a beat from last year's Super Bowl.
Not at all.
they looked better.
Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who I'm sure we'll touch on, and who you
we'll
have
touch on it.
many a wet dreams about over the last few nights.
Jesus.
No
comment.
He's something that team didn't have last year, and oh my god,
it's scary. It's scary.
It's scary.
It is scary.
He resembles a little bit like he's a little meatball.
Oh, he's a meatball.
But that jump cut, Chuck, and I know we're going to get to it when we get into those games.
That poor defender's in a parallel uniform.
God.
He's in a parallel universe now, Blaze.
He jumped into the Marvel universe. That was Doctor Strange just tripping him.
He evaporated. Thanos snapped him away.
That's right. And we're off to the races with the pop culture references early, which I love. I'm a big pop culture guy. Shocker. Shnazi, good call, bad call. What do you got for us this week?
Okay,
Let's get into it.
And we haven't seen these either this week, Blaze. So
We haven't. We're actually flying in dark, fans.
I can't wait. Who knows what he's got?
When you put me in charge of something,
I am.
These boys sweat. They sweat.
Big sip of the red wine there.
Yeah. Let's get into it, boy. Let's go.
All right, so a few topical ones that everyone will be aware of, and a few that you might go, who is that? Okay, so the offensive pass interference call on Amari Cooper in the dying stages of my Rams game. Good call, bad call.
I'll take this for my own personal selfish reasons, Chuck.
Yes.
That's a bad call.
Bad call.
Because the Cowboys were going to beat the Rams if that call is not made.
It was 20 seconds to go. They still had to go 30 yards. More likely a game
field goal range. Yeah,
game tying field goal.
They're going over the top. They're going to tie it and they're going to beat him OT. And that might be a sweeping declaration without any real backing.
We love unsubstantiated facts.
But the point is, I would have loved to see it go to OT and potentially pick up that tip and stretch my lead on you to 2.
You never know.
Aren't you supposed to be the level-headed one on this podcast?
He might have done a Bengals kicker and shanked it.
We could get to him a bit later on. I think for me, it was a bad call. It didn't look like there was heaps in it, but a few of the analysts have said since that they're pretty comfortable.
By the letter of the law, I think it's the right call, but I think most of the time you see that sort of stuff get go. It wasn't a massive arm in and full shove off. It was
of a flop.
Just a little bit of arm fighting and then a tiny little push. But as Nate Burleson said, he says go the chicken wing because you can't get done for the chicken wing. A little bit of separation and then catch the ball.
You would have done the chicken wing a couple of times over the journey, wouldn't you?
I don't know where you're going with this.
So I don't know either, really.
Snars, next one, thanks.
Level-headed, folks.
Stop.
Level-headed.
The guy in the middle's got issues.
Stop, I can't.
All right, leading on from that offensive pass interference call.
Yeah.
What about the one on AJ Green, Slammer?
I wasn't as big a fan on this one, and this one would have hurt as well because obviously I tipped the Chargers and they were part of the Slammers guarantee. But once again, I'm not sure that it was there.
That one seemed
seemed even less likely.
Seemed a bit more on the edge a little bit. I don't think there was enough
And
force.
it denied Joe Burrow an opening win against the Chargers,
as Blaze would like to refer to him, smoking Joe and smoke the group of big men.
Yeah, the squad of men.
I'm feeling
Joe and his squad.
I'm getting bullied and
Rolling
harassed.
up.
I'm getting bullied and harassed fans, and if you love my work, just come to my aid here because I'm getting over these two clowns.
Speaking of someone who's been bullied and harassed, this leads into my next good call, bad call.
Very good.
Good call, bad call. Tour will be starting by week 4.
Yeah, good call. Good call.
And
I don't love Fitz tragics.
You got
longevity in the game at the minute.
Now, fans, what you should know is Schnars walked in tonight and he said, I've got one. I've got a new nickname, and Blaze has just stolen it and ran.
Thundercats.
I'd do it again. I'd do it again too.
But you're right.
I regret absolutely nothing.
Fitzmagic was absolutely terrible.
Yep.
And yeah, time for Tour is looking very soon.
That time frame is moving up. The thing is
Looked a little bit like a muggle, a half-blood.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Moving right along.
I might have to make this a solo show the way you two
We haven't started like a house on fire here.
Nah,
We're
and you know who else hasn't started like a house on fire? Phillip Rivers.
That is
Good
an
call,
understatement.
bad call. It's going to be the same old shit with Phillip Rivers this year as it was with his time in the Chargers
We
last
don't
season.
write no swearing on the whiteboard, and you just jump in.
been rubbed off.
You jump in early with the shit call. Oh, God.
There we go
We're
again.
just all over the
Well,
place.
yeah, so I'll grab this because you two are sinking ship at the moment. Yeah, he did not look very good. And, I mean, the Jags have now already passed Schnarz's win projection for the entire year with 1, and they are at my max.
Slammer, we were making a whole...
They are at least 100% higher than I
I
predicted.
I put the crown on guaranteeing the number 1 pick for Jags, and they've gone out and won week 1.
Slammer, we were doing the biggest song and dance about how bad they were, and we have been
And
made...
they are!
We have been made to act an absolute fool.
No, we haven't. Indianapolis have made us look the fool.
Well, are they not the biggest joke getting around right now?
Yeah, it's
that is
pathetic.
Just abs. And I know Marlon Mack popped his Achilles, poor bloke. That would have drilled like nothing else. But that's not the reason they lost to the
They were
Jags.
terrible.
I don't know what
Absolutely
you can put that down to. Phil
Sweet
Rivers,
Chili Philly sucks.
Schnars, you said last week it's going to be an indicator of what Phil
It
Rivers
was
is
my only thing to watch in that game.
what Phil Rivers is going to look like this year. Have you got any thoughts on that now?
It's worth talking about. It's going to be probably a long
swear
season.
word. Yeah.
I don't want to look too much into the future after just looking at a small sample size.
Yeah.
But mate, if you can't beat the Jaguars,
I think with this, I think the other thing with
Red
this
alert.
is like, obviously some teams played week 1 as if they haven't stopped playing football for 6 months. They rolled straight through, like the Chiefs and the Ravens. They just went straight through, act as if nothing had changed.
Yep.
Obviously,
Seahawks
maybe
too.
with Indianapolis, the change of quarterback, all that sort of change with no preseason, that sort of thing. Maybe that screwed them, but
same can be
You've
said for
still been the
Jacksonville though.
Jags.
Where have all their players come from? As we've touched on, they've traded them off. They've just gone out to the farm and just found 20 random players to play.
Mustache Mania just took over, and I mean,
that's-
no one told him they're tanking for Trevor.
That's my next good call, bad call. So
How good are we
good call.
segueing at the moment,
Good
Schnars?
call,
Low-key.
bad call.
Better than the first
Minshew
3
is the
minutes.
Jaguars' best player.
Oh, well, at the moment, it's very hard to... I mean, the quarterback is always the most important player on any team. I don't know if do you, would
I'm
you say
just
it's the
trying
best
to
player?
even think of another player that plays for the Jags.
Oh, it's very hard to name anyone, isn't
Yeah.
I can tell you who doesn't play there. Yannick Ngakoue.
it? You just...
That was not good pronunciation
that's
either.
But it's mind-boggling to me that, okay, I'll answer my own one. Good call, because I reckon he's their best player. And as we've pointed out, they are tanking. They are tanking for another quarterback. So what will happen with Minshew if he continues along this trajectory for the whole season?
Maybe they'll trade him.
Maybe we'll go play for Indianapolis.
They'll cut
That
him
is a
and play
good
at Tampa
point.
next year.
He went 19 of 20.
Yeah.
Absolute
19
dime.
of 20.
With 3 tubs
and was
too.
throwing some dimes.
Took
Like,
it to took 3 tubs off the
and
the
they
board
deserved
and-
to win that game. They
Oh,
didn't
100%.
Yeah, like they didn't
100%.
fluke it. Like they were just better than the Colts were.
I think we've touched on a couple of games in passing through that segment. You got any more for us there, Schnazi? I don't know what you...
Last one.
Yeah, okay.
Good call, bad call. Randy Bullock sacked in the morning.
Well,
Who?
I don't know who the hell he's talking about.
You might remember him from the Bengals and Chargers game
Stop saying Bengals.
when he decided
he's
to
the
blow his
kicker.
calf out
Oh, the kicker.
and just
for the
ruined
Bengals.
Smoking Joe's.
Smoking Joe's debut game, he marches him down the field to tie the game, and you've got a regulation, 25-yard field goal.
Yeah.
No, before that, take
We
a
could've
step
kicked
back.
that. Okay.
You've got the offensive pass interference.
So
And then the next day, to finish this story off, Randy Bullock comes out and says, yeah, it's nothing serious
Yeah.
in relation to his injury.
because he
Went
if you haven't seen
he went
it,
down like he'd done his hamstring.
If you haven't
seen it,
and then he
fans.
said it was just a cramp, and then he looks okay.
Sacked in the morning. Good call, bear call.
good call. I'd get rid of that bloke. I
Yeah.
don't think the king
He
king
probably
of
doesn't have a long future.
the king of Cincinnati. I don't think he'd be too keen on his first game going
No.
ending like that.
But-
He deserved better. He really did. He looked alright.
No, he played alright.
Yeah, he looked
that
alright.
that like 20-yard scramble run for a TD that he had, pretty good.
Pretty
Pretty
quick for a
good.
big boy.
Pretty
and
quick.
Yeah.
He just looked sharp.
Bit
And
of a
that Chargers defense is no joke, even without Derwin James. The two blokes rushing him in the quarter, Melvin Ingram and Bosa, like he was up against it
Man.
in his debut, and he played alright. Did you know no quarterback ever drafted number 1 overall that started week 1 has ever won? They're like 0-11-1 or something.
That's a serious.
because I get chucked in the deep end.
Looks
I
that
guess
way.
so,
But yeah,
Just to
I mean,
finish-
they're obviously
he almost bucked the trend.
they're always going to a shit team, I guess. But
I think to round this one out with old mate Randy Bullock and leads into probably what sunk your ship on your best bet. Randy Bullock made to look good today by Gostkowski.
that is a very good call. That bloke had the jitters like nothing I've ever seen before in my life. I don't know
Although
what's going on.
He did keep the game winner.
Yeah,
in
he
the
did.
end.
He did.
Yeah,
But how many attempts did he
How
have
many?
today?
I mean, how many siders do you need before you know
As
one?
long
mate?
as you keep the last one, no one's really.
I
Gonna
guess
care.
so, but he took it tight, and obviously he was a big fan of the best bet segment because he kept me in it the whole way. And I
yeah.
know we had a
I think
couple.
you got screwed a little bit on your best bet by Von Miller going out.
Oh yeah, low key.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Cortland Sutton, wide receiver 1, going out
Yeah.
as well didn't help.
That didn't help.
Well, I must confess, a few of the fans got in the DMs today, and they were looking for some tips, and I was just flogging off the best bet, like,
Yeah.
and no one's winning off.
And
that,
it was looking
so
good till the last 2 minutes.
It did.
Yep.
And then Derek Henry decided to show up.
We might be able to talk about that in a little bit more detail later on. How about we jump into the
Yeah,
week,
let's crack in.
the week that was, and
So,
we'll just run
tips.
tips. Yeah, we're going to lead with tips, and I know why Schnazi's so keen to get into the tips because he's number 1 on the leaderboard after 1 week. He nailed 11 of 16, and had a really good week. I came in second with 10. I'm right on his hammer, and I'll stay there for as long as I have to. Chucky, the man with the loudest mouth and the biggest head, came in last with just 9.
Look, quite frankly, you two didn't actually enter your tips properly, so I am going to go back and sit through the tape.
What do you
'cause
mean
I'm
not properly? They're out there in the
They're
public.
on
I know,
record.
but
They're
you
on
just
record.
guessed like 5 minutes ago off air what you tipped, and
No, I didn't. It
I'm going to
wasn't
go.
guessing. That
wasn't guessing.
I'm going to go back through the tape and check.
It was a memory exercise.
I'm not happy with it.
You're-
There's no way I've come last.
Oh, he is just his pride gets in the way of making legitimate comment. It's just
it's-
so sad to see.
Which is probably why you're going to see him later today rocking a fine headpiece.
Yes, and he will have a nice piece of headwear to wear that has been
Yes.
conveniently cut to facilitate the size of your mega
Not
dome.
once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 cuts does
I
not.
don't make them for normal-sized people.
3 cuts
Right.
does not a
Must
crowd
have been a
make.
kid's helmet.
All right, enough rambling
Let's get
as
into
per usual. Chiefs Texans
I'll take
Thursday
the ball,
night
Blaze.
football.
Throw to
Okay,
me.
I
Throw
thought
to
you
me,
might.
Blaze.
I
Throw
thought
to
you
me.
might. I thought you might.
Wait, throw to me.
Chucky, take it away.
Okay. This was a bloodbath.
Mm-hmm.
Texans went up 7-0 early. Slammer was sitting there. Do you reckon I was worried, Blaze? Absolutely not. Don't even bother answering.
We've seen this movie before.
Then what do we rattle off? 31 unanswered points. Disgusting. The best team in football got better. The best team in football now has a rushing attack. The best team in football is the Kansas City Chiefs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his debut had 138 yards, 1 TD, and 1
massive.
juke that sent somebody else into another dimension.
Interstellar.
It was lit.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Texans got a couple of junk time TDs, 34-20
was
the
em-
final, but
it was empty
my
by then,
God,
wasn't
they look good.
It was empty by
Mahomes
then.
only had to throw like 32 times, 75% completion, 211 yards, 3 TDs, no picks.
Oh, had the dropped one as well.
So
Very casual.
lit.
And had the drop one
Had the drop
early
one.
on with
Yep.
Demarcus Robinson, I believe.
What-
He looked really good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked fantastic.
I think everyone has been hyping this man up to be, bigger than Ben-Hur. He lived up to it. He
Yeah.
played his little legs off, and he was great. And I don't think you can fault him. And I think we touched on it at the start. They're better than last year, which
They-
is scary.
They
It is
look.
scary.
They
If they
look
can,
better.
they dominated time possession, held the ball. If they can do that to teams, and everybody last year knew they were throwing. Even when you thought they were running, they were throwing.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that. if they can have that diversity on offense and be able to control clock,
it was a
good luck.
lot slower and methodical offense. Their ball control, the time in possession was a lot higher, and it really. And I think the big thing here, which I've got written down, is being down 14-7 to Patrick Mahomes and the Chief is not like being down 14-7 to another team.
No.
Because you know you're behind. You have to throw the ball. You cannot waste time because Mahomes can just launch it.
Give it back. I think the word that comes to mind, you both kind of touched on it in your own ways, was surgical. It was methodical. It was slow. It was death by 1,000 cuts, but at the same time, he'll throw 2 or 3 haymakers and knock you the F out. And that's what he did.
The most alarming stat for mine was he only had, I think it was 211 passing yards.
Yeah, which is low.
If he did that, and they won by that,
against a good team.
That's
against a good team. That can't be understated.
That's worrying.
Texans are right in the race for that divisional, championship.
Actually,
so
should say as well, David Johnson for the Texans actually played pretty well.
Breakout player for you, Chuck. So,
I won't put the crown on for it, but I was pretty hot there.
I was pretty happy for it.
As well, to probably round out the Chiefs here. So we talk about what I got a bit, passionate about trying to level the playing field last week was about Patty Mahomes, being a bit vulnerable to injury because he runs a lot. Doesn't need to run the ball now.
And he didn't once.
Doesn't need to. Problem solved. Crisis averted.
Yeah. I think that'll only come out. I think that'll only come out in special occasions.
Yeah. And I mean, as the more protected you can keep him, he's like your prized possession, and just don't let him take hits. Let him fling it all over the place, and unless he pops his shoulder or something of the sort, I can't really see him going anywhere other than the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship at an absolute minimum.
Spot on, Blaze.
Very good.
Let's get into Bills Jets. And let's not spend long on it.
Let's just hustle through this. Schnazi, your Bills boys go in, just absolutely.
One
do
thing
what
I'd
they
like
had
to
to
say
do.
for the casual fans out there is that score is in no way, shape, or form reflective of
10 points. Bills 27, Jets 17. So
Jets absolutely stunk it up.
Awful.
They were awful. Probably, in my opinion, one of the worst looking teams.
I don't think you'll get.
They were my worst team.
You won't get many complaints here.
And just to round off the Bills look good. Josh Allen still struggles to hit the side of a barn door. He missed. It was about like a 10-yard pass, and he missed it by 10 yards.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So for me, Bills look good, which was good.
Did Stephon Diggs get on the end of any Schnars? I didn't actually.
No, but he did have one key block on a touchdown run. He ran sideline to sideline, made a massive block, which got a guy in untouched to the end zone.
And that's good for him because I think if Stephon Diggs is playing good football, it's him doing those kind of selfless things that maybe some of the criticism on him before is a bit me centric. If he's laying big blocks in the outside the numbers and whatever to open up the low, that's a really good sign.
They definitely cemented themselves as AFC East favourites in my books.
They looked good. Packers, Vikings,
Slammer,
black and blue division.
You got
Packers 43, Vikings 34. As you remember, fans, I was on the pack. Now,
likewise, but
did you see? So there was about 57 seconds to go in the second quarter of this one, and I think it was 8-7 in favour of the Pack. Now, Rodgers threw an absolute dime to Devontae Adams for like a 40-yard score.
Yep.
So they go up. I think it was 15-7.
Yep.
They give Minnesota the ball. Kirk threw it for the 4th time in the first half, and he threw a pick. He left the Packers with about 50 yards to go and about 20 seconds to do it. They scored again.
Yeah.
And if that's not a way to just completely kill off a game before halftime, I don't know what is.
Well, if we're going to keep on the theme of surgery, Aaron Rodgers, the surgeon is in. He is just a diabolical human being to have at quarterback.
The Packers can't afford to get in shootouts, though.
No,
they don't want to do it.
Against the good teams, they're not going to get in shootouts.
So they've only won by 9 there, and I just told you they had a 14-point swing in the last minute of the second quarter. So if that doesn't happen, potentially they don't win. But it should be noted, the bloke he threw the second touchdown to, his name is Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yes.
Serious mouthful.
Well, obviously you haven't been paying attention to me that closely because in our season preview, when we touched on it, well, that's evident. I did touch on Valdez-Scantling as having a bit at wide receiver 3.
Yeah,
and you kind of breezed past me. So
actually, that's an interesting point though because they got baked right for the whole Jordan Love thing and not drafting any wide receivers. I think he threw it to like 7 different wideouts.
Well, they had some,
and they were spreading the ball around, and it was kind of like, and I think obviously the GM and all those blokes behind the scenes are probably sitting there thinking,
look at me.
Look at that. We knew
bit of
head
wobbles.
Maybe we're okay at wide receiver.
We do love a head wobble here.
It's all going to come crashing down at some point in Packerland.
At Commuter HQ, you can always guarantee there'll be a little bit of head wobbling.
It's a pretty big win though on the road. First up against Minnesota. probably their biggest divisional rival. I think we'd all
I think
assume
so.
that.
It's a 2-win game. You know.
Yeah, I think that's a bloody good win to open the season for them.
They'll take that for sure.
Speaking of teams who didn't have a good win,
And speaking of our brand new sponsor, the Jersey Cartel, his Philadelphia Eagles. Ooh, this one stung, Schnazi. Take us through it.
I just can't believe they lost to Washington.
The Washington football team.
I don't know what to say. Carson Wentz looked a bit average.
Oh, Wentz.
Chase Young, as we advertised,
The
and as probably
beast.
the world has been advertising.
The beast in the East, baby.
He's a squad of men on his own.
Oh, Jesus.
He looked unreal. What was that? 1.5 sacks. One was a
1.5
strip
sacks,
sack.
one forced fumble. The offense did recover it, but still.
It still
He,
counts on his number. It's a scary, scary man.
He's a scary man. But okay, this is what I had written down, and don't want to throw off the sponsors early, but I'm just going to rattle off the next few games for the Eagles. So they've got the Rams,
the
Bengals, the Niners.
Congratulations
the
on
Steelers,
saying Bengals probably there as well. by the way.
and the Ravens.
Ooh,
I don't like him
that's a rough
for at
start.
least for at
They
least
could be
3 of
1
them.
and 5.
Yeah, that's a rough start.
I don't have them beating the Rams this week, which I'll get to
No, well, what would you?
in the preview episode for week 2.
Yeah.
I have them beating the Bengals. I have them losing to the Niners. I have them losing to the Steelers, and I have them losing to the Ravens, which equals 1 and 5.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
stings. And
Thanks for walking us through it.
it's your maths is on point, so that's always good. As the avid office worker that
I
you
think
are.
we've given the Eagles too much time, quite frankly.
Well, I think we might
Are
have.
we going to talk about Washington?
Well, how much love do you got for Dwayne
Well,
Haskins?
they
in
were
that result?
17-0 down and then turned one on. They 27 unanswered points. Win 27-17. Were they home or away? I'm not sure.
I think it was in Washington.
It was
not?
home
might have
games
been
at
Yeah,
FedEx.
yeah.
But their D-line, now Peter Schrager on Good Morning Football had a bold call at the start of the year, said that their D-line might be the best in football.
Washington's.
Yeah.
It's low-key sneaky good.
Low-key, sneaky good. Their entire defense is almost first-round picks.
So they've got those 2
Their
Alabama
D-line-
blokes, Ioannidis and...
Ioannidis, they got Montez Sweat, they
yeah.
got
the one in the
obviously
middle.
the beast,
I can't
Chase
remember- I
Young.
can't
Like,
remember the
they
guy
are
in the middle.
loaded at D-line and all that. Like, they had 8 sacks, made Philadelphia's offensive line look awful. Now, they did have some outs, but still, block somebody. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Block somebody.
Someone a lot bigger and heavier than me called him the Swiss cheese because there was holes everywhere
There
in that
was.
line, and it was ridiculous. And they
Bloody good win for Washington.
100%.
Do you reckon as well, they don't know if any of you have seen it, that Ron Rivera was taking an IV drip for his cancer
at
treatment
halftime.
at halftime?
That's insane.
Do you reckon the players took something out of that and go like, if this bloke is doing this for us, can we do something for him, which sort of spurred him a bit?
So he couldn't,
like that.
A narrative.
He couldn't talk
Yeah,
to
narrative.
the team at halftime. So Dwayne Haskins gave the halftime speech and apparently massively rallied the troops because they were down, obviously, at
Well,
halftime.
that
They were
doesn't
down
sound-
17-0.
That doesn't sound like a bloke that's getting moved on for Alex Smith anytime
No.
soon.
And obviously, and if he can keep winning games, he's not going to.
Absolutely. Hey, congratulations to the Washington football team. Much
Well
maligned.
done.
We gave them a fair bit of stick in the season preview.
I have no hope in that game.
They've come out, they've surprised us all, and they've taken a tip off all of us, which, it doesn't really sit well with any of us, but, we'll take it. Moving on, Ravens, Browns. We don't have to waste much time here.
No.
Ravens, really, really nice. Browns, really, really poor.
Lamar Jackson looked better
OP.
than last year, if that is possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Browns absolutely stunk it up. Baker didn't play too bad. Everything around him just didn't work.
Baker
in my
didn't
opinion.
play well.
He didn't play bad, but he didn't play well.
Baker didn't play well, and I'll tell you who played worse, OBJ.
He looks a
OBJ
shadow of himself.
The piece-
doesn't he?
OBJ said to the media, I'm going to be really good this year. My body's not banged up, blah, blah, blah. He played crap.
Yep.
Dropped multiple
Absolutely
I
passes.
think that's what I was getting to. The pieces around him just didn't live up to expectation. They've got the
Baker didn't play
dual-headed
good, though.
Python at the running back, which you called it, I reckon.
Yeah,
They've got,
yep.
the defense is pretty stacked. They've got Njoku at tight end. They've got the receivers.
There's just something wrong with the Browns. They haven't won an opening season game since 2004.
I see. That is an amazing amount of time.
That
is what-
16 opening season games in a row as a loss.
That's a joke. Hey, Browns were very poor. OBJ was very poor. You know who wasn't poor? Mark Andrews.
And
Mark
the whole
Andrews
Ravens,
at
really,
tight
but
end.
Mark Andrews, he had a sick one-handed
Yep.
grab.
that guy can play, and I think
Might be one of the best tight ends in the league this year.
might be.
If not the
We
best.
did list him in the top 4 in our little stock exchange segment. I think he's got some real legs moving forward as as a young tight end. He's only a young man. I think he's about our age, Chuck, about 25,
25, I think. Yeah, 25, 26.
I think
So he's got some gag.
one thing I do want to call out with the Browns, and I mentioned this in last week's preview for the round, they're going to get better as the season goes.
Yep.
But I just did not expect them to be this bad from week 1.
They should have been better than that.
they would've-
38-6 is a trouncing.
Yeah.
They would have.
They'll figure it out, but,
Second year in a row, Ravens start real hot out the blocks too. They smoked the Dolphins
Yeah, but
last
the
year.
Dolphins.
Yeah, I know, but still, credit where credit's due. They're starting hot.
I think everyone's just looking forward to week 3, Ravens Chiefs. That'll be a game.
Yeah, you will have to be glued to that, and I can guarantee that's probably all of our game of the week. Weeks.
If it's not,
that
it
week.
should be.
Yeah.
Jags
100%.
Colts.
Jags Colts in probably the upset. Actually, not probably. 100% the upset of the weekend.
Yeah.
The
one saw
Jacksonville
that.
Jaguars, the lowly Jags, we have absolutely no time for whatsoever. We think they're absolute pus. They've got no one. We
think
tried to
everyone
name
is.
before who else plays on the Jags, and we only had the quarterback Gardner, and that's probably only because he's got the best
And the
mustache
tight
in
end. Someone
football.
got traded there at tight end. And I
Yeah,
was
Tyler
like,
Eifert.
Tyler Eifert.
Yeah.
Now, how the hell, Chuck, can you tell me that they beat the Colts 27-20? How?
I don't know, Blaze. I've even watched the highlights and I'm still not sure.
I think
I
it's
really
Phillip,
don't know.
It's just this correlation with Philip Rivers always leaving teams in the game and then trying to bring it back in the last quarter. And then you know what? Last year, failed more times than he did. So then he was traded.
Yeah.
Same thing's going to happen in Indy this year by the looks of it. It's just surprising.
Very disappointing.
We know in
It's-
your preview show that you said this was going to be an indicator for how the Colts are going to look.
They just didn't.
It doesn't look good,
Nah.
does it? I know we
Doesn't
touched
look
on it earlier a little
Looks
bit.
good for
It's-
my Tennessee winning the division.
Well, I'm happy with that. Look, again, not much dissimilar to the way we gave Washington some props. If the Jags are going to win a game like that in the
Yeah.
opening round,
Fair play to them.
fair play.
I don't think
fair
look
play.
too much into it though. I still
don't
think they're going to be
either.
a very, very average side.
I don't
As
either.
we touched on earlier, Minshew going 19 of 20 with 3 tuds.
Someone didn't tell him that they're meant to be taking.
That's lit.
Someone-
That's
Or
They'll probably
that's
bench
a
him.
seriously good
They will
game.
bench him.
well, it just depends on how committed to that front they are. Hey,
The operating model for their team is to draft Trevor.
Yeah.
Someone hasn't got the manuscript.
I wouldn't
Well, he
get too
doesn't.
excited too early, though. I can't
No.
see him winning.
I
too
think
many
that
games.
might be a little bit lightning in the bottle ish.
Yeah.
But hey, Panthers Raiders in a tip that you
Actually,
got.
one of
Schnaz.
the better games of the week.
Yeah, and Schnazzy, you nabbed this one off me and Chuck. We both like Teddy in this one, and you've gone with the Raiders. So you know,
Panthers' defense was by far and away the worst defense in week 1.
No Kuechly, no Panthers.
Nah,
Kuechly, however you say that.
yeah, they were just nothing. He retired last year though, didn't he? The year
End of
before?
last year.
end of last year.
They didn't play last year, did he?
Yeah,
played
but
most
he
of it.
played, but he was injured and then he
Yeah.
missed some games and that. But he actually
Yeah.
officially retired at the end of the year.
But
they looked
their
lost without
defense
him.
was absolutely pus. I mean, Teddy looked good. I think the Raiders are a very mediocre side, but the Panthers' defense giving up 34 points to the Raiders just shouldn't happen.
You know who's not mediocre, though? And that's Josh Jacobs.
This is an understatement.
Josh Jacobs is not mediocre, and I hate it because I hate the Raiders. I hate
Yeah.
everything about him. But he had 93 yards and 3 touchdowns. And
That's
the
a
dude can
serious.
play.
That's a serious day. You take that every
Dude
day of the
can
week.
play.
For a
He's no Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he can play.
For a second-year running back, he would be taking that 100% of the time, and I think that young man is going to get paid in a
Handsomely,
couple of years'
quite
time.
handsomely.
Yeah, he's going to have some money. And power to him. Happy for him. Lions, Bears, no Tigers.
Oh, this is just
Serious upset
infuriating.
here.
I was so hot on the Lions all preseason.
Yeah, we pumped Stafford up so much.
Oh.
It was so nice to the Lions.
I don't know how
And
any
they
of the
didn't
fans.
deserve it.
I don't know how any of the fans could possibly not know that you were on the Lions last week. When we got to the Lions, you very succinctly just said Lions. So I think that pretty much said all it needed to
I
be
think
said.
I said the Bears. What do they call? I probably should have looked this up
Yeah.
the last time. Where they have the when they rave.
Oh, the
when they
bear
win.
cave or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
quite
I
a
was
popular
like, not going to
seg-
have many of
The
those
rave-
this year. And
the
what do they
rave
do round
cave.
one?
Round one, they're having the bear rave or the bear
Rave
cave,
in Detroit.
whatever the hell that means or
Everyone in
is.
3-1-3.
Hey, Chucky, 27-23, Mitchell Trubisky, starting quarterback. He's got a win on the board.
21 unanswered points in the last quarter, Blaze.
I mean, that young man, he turned it on.
He did turn it on. Everyone was like, big confused when he. I was going to say something I shouldn't.
Yeah, he did well, actually.
So, like, no one thought he was going to get the starting job. And in the first half, quite frankly, it looked like he shouldn't have got the job.
Yeah.
Lucky
But
not to be
then
benched.
last
Yeah.
quarter turns it on. 21 unanswered. wins the game 27-23. Should be noted here, DeAndre Swift did drop a ball with about 8 seconds to go in the end zone.
That's a young man learning his
would have won.
Learning his trade. Which
Matt
happens.
Patricia would have hated that. Well, it was 21. He's supposed to be a defensive specialist. Obviously, McDaniels was the offense at New England.
That one's sewn up.
Yeah.
That should have, slow the game down, keep the ball, don't give him time, don't let him score 3 touchdowns.
I mean, that's a huge number for a quarterback that is much maligned. And probably in keeping with the theme of the night, I don't know if we're going to talk about a title potentially, but there's a bit of a redemption arc going on here in terms of what teams we wanted to put down or specific players like Trubisky. We're getting stuck into them all pre-season.
They must be listening to us.
They must be.
We're a source of inspiration.
Because everyone that we are badmouth fans, we're on this whiteboard, we have badmouthed these people for weeks. And they've just turned around and they've blown up.
Except for the Jets.
Except for the Jets, because they suck.
The Jets were what we thought the Jets were.
As advertised.
But let's get into on your way too early season MVP picks. If you pick one after week 1, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson had 322 yards and 4 TDs, taking the Seahawks over to Atlanta, 38-25.
He didn't take the Seahawks over there. He took an absolute squad of men.
This again.
And they just battered Matty Ice and the boys from pillar to post. Anyone got any stats on Todd Gurley for me for that game?
No, got nothing.
Didn't look great.
Check.
Okay, so,
But I will say this about the Falcons players. Calvin Ridley, who I predicted as the breakout player, had 2 TDs.
Well, I'm very happy for you,
Bit
my
of head
friend.
wobble about that.
Very happy for you.
Jamal Adams at the Seahawks looked unreal.
Yep.
He looked great. And I think, as Slammer mentioned, Russell Wilson, he was dangerous.
He was
and
fine.
Early MVP. As I think I said, I didn't have them winning too many games, but I was sort of put a caveat on that by saying
you did.
they're going to go how Russ goes. And look, if he stays injury free, this team is going to ride on his coattails.
100%. Yeah. And, the other result in that division is interesting too, but we'll get to that when we get there. Patriots, Dolphins. Chucky,
let's not spend too much time
Chucky,
here.
you took
this game sucked.
You took the Dolphins as a smoky. Let's not breeze over that. So they lost by 10, 21-11, and
did not look good.
Didn't look good.
And you also said the Patriots' defense would not be great either.
You did. No, they coughed up 11. Now, albeit
the Dolphins.
Your mate Fitztragic.
You tipped the Dolphins.
I know, but still. That game sucks. The whole thing sucks.
Let's not get too hot on it.
I've watched the highlights. It was 6 minutes long, and quite frankly, it was 6 minutes of my life.
One thing that I will note from that game is Newton had 15 rushes, which for 75 yards.
He had the most rushes in the last 20 years for New England Patriots as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's on pace. I think, if my maths serves me correctly, it's only very quick. That would be about 1,200 yards rushing from a quarterback.
That'd probably break Lamar's record from last year.
I think Cam actually holds the record, doesn't he?
No, Lamar broke it.
Lamar broke it? What did he get?
I don't know.
Put him on the spot. That's really good for the content.
Hey, dead silence. We love that.
I'm pretty sure it was around 1,200, 1,300 yards.
Yeah, okay. So Cam's sort of on pace to sort of break that. But 15 rushes, it's tempting fate to bring Stidham and Hoyer in. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Well, Sam would love to see Brian Hoyer at some stage this year, and we might just, depending on how it unfolds. Bengals, Chargers in a bit of a snoozer. Bengals, indeed. Except Joe Burrow's playing his first game. Chargers
deserve to lose.
Yeah, they didn't look great.
Did not play well. The only thing that looked good about the Chargers was their new uniforms because they are sick.
Speaking of, we're bringing back that segment one of these days.
As much as it pains me to say it,
I thought there might have been a bit too much going on.
Nah, they look
for your liking.
Nah, it's just like
the blue is good.
Like,
it's a good
it's
blue.
So LA. It's so like sand and sky and it's just beach. It's just LA. It looks lit. You're always doing something right if you've got a uniform that looks like nobody else's. And that uniform looks like nobody else's. No one has like those yellow pants, bolts on the shoulders. Like, I think that looked good.
The
Numbers
biggest thing
on the
here
helmet
too
with a bolt looked good. I hate the Chargers, but it looked good.
All right, the biggest thing. The biggest thing here as well is they won the Battle of LA with uniforms.
Oh, 100%.
Hands
Those bone
down.
ones looked awful.
The two-tone. I never saw the two-tone in the number until you
that's
mentioned
on
it.
the home one as well.
Yeah.
It's
questionable.
It sucks.
All right.
Very questionable.
Chargers dominate the Rams in that aspect.
Uniforms out of the equation. Joe Burrow looked pretty good in his debut.
Joe Burrow looked very
Joe
good.
Burrow looked like a man.
Joe Burrow got robbed of a
How did Tyrod Taylor look at quarterback?
Oh, well. Who would you rather have, Slammer, after week 1? Cam Newton or Tyrod Taylor?
Well, they've both 1-0, so Both equally as good.
Oh, you can't not tell me that Tyrod Taylor played
He's
anywhere
been-
I'm not
close
saying
to
he
a good
played
game.
well.
He's being
No.
facetious. Let's talk about an actually good game. The 49ers versus the Cardinals. Quite
Blaze.
entertaining.
Hold up,
Hang
hold
on,
up,
Blaze.
hold up.
I've got to put the hat on.
Oh, of course you do.
Oh, no.
So talk us through it, Slammer. Talk us through how your week started.
Slammer's guarantee got sunk by Patrick Peterson's helmet.
Patrick Peterson.
24-20, Cardinals win over the 49ers. I'm not that upset, Blaze. And the reason why? Because I tipped the Cards to go like 11-5, and I think the Cards are sick. I tried to find some value last week in Slammer's guarantee, and I got sunk by a team that I'd spent the whole off-season hyping up. So I don't feel
Karma.
that bad about it.
It's karma.
But if Patrick Peterson doesn't get his helmet in the way, the 49ers would have caught a touchdown with about 10 seconds
For
to
our
go.
American listeners, down here, I don't know if they call it a falcon over there, do they? I don't think so. Anyway, down
No, that'd be
here,
Atlanta.
if a ball hits you in the head, we call it a falcon, and a falcon is a fantastically funny thing, especially if you're playing a sport that doesn't have helmets. This one does have a helmet. It bounced off Patrick Peterson,
And it wasn't funny for Slammer's guarantee.
and it wasn't funny. It sunk the guarantee, and now you get to wear a
I lost
clown
$50.
hat. You get to wear a clown hat, and I love it, because you are a clown, and you know if
I
the
did
shoot.
forget to put the crown on earlier. I did say that Chase Young was going to have a sack, and he had 1.5. So.
Well, put it down. If the shoe fits, or in this case, the clown hat that you have to cut 3 times to make sure it fits.
You know what did fit in Arizona?
What's
Kyler
that?
Murray.
D-Hop.
Oh, did he
D-Hop.
just? Run us through his numbers, maybe, Schnars, if you got him. 14 of 16 targets for
140 odd. I don't know.
Buck
he
40?
was lit.
He was
was
D-Hop, Kyler, took their squad of men. They took him
In a Santa
to
Clara.
San Francisco, Santa Clara, Levi Stadium, and did what had to be done.
They did. And they got a win in a game that not many people would have picked him. Obviously, I picked him because I'm...
I called a I called a shootout last
Yeah,
week,
you
and
got
it
a
wasn't.
shootout, and I told you that was wrong. And
Well,
I
you
was
called
right
it...
about that.
No, I think what you called, Schnars, was a spectacle. And
A
that's what you
spectacle.
got.
He did
for
call
sure.
a shootout.
I called it
He
a
said it was gonna be high
shootout,
scoring.
but the Cardinals' defense played a lot better than I thought they would.
Chandler Jones is a man.
Chandler Jones got a sack or two in, I think.
Kyler Murray was especially lit, though. 230 yards through the air, 91 rushing yards. If old mate over there wants to bang on about Cam's rushing yards, Kyler's rushing yards is better. And
Oh, I'm not.
No one's
I'm
debating
not
that.
saying that Cam's is better. I'm just saying that's a good for Cam who hasn't played for a year.
But
Yeah.
Kyler looked really friggin' good.
Now, you had him as a breakout player as well. So
Yeah,
you
and
hit
I couldn't have been
breakouts
more
pretty
spot on
nicely. Kyler is looking pretty special. He's got his... Well, I was going to say Batman and Robin, but there's no way D-Hop is not Batman, so maybe Kyler's
and
running
you
around.
are not putting Larry Fitzgerald down to Robin.
No,
Maybe Alfred at
their
this stage
offense
of his
is
career.
gonna. They're gonna have.
He's a bit older.
He's got a bit of Alfred going on.
but,
Their offense though, they're gonna have some crazy plays this year where you're just gonna look at it and they're just gonna be like,
well, Cliff Kingsbury in his college model
"Did he have
offense.
the turtleneck?
I think it was.
It was a half. It wasn't a full turtleneck. It was a half turtle.
It's a man walking around with
A half turtle.
little bit of
Yeah.
swagger. A little bit of swagger.
Him
Save,
and-
the,
it's a
All right.
It's a competition between him and Sean McVay. Isn't
save
it?
the turtles.
I'm going to
baby.
give... You just stay quiet for a second. I'm going to throw you the ball. I know you want it.
Okay, I do.
Blaze. Saints 34, Buccaneers 23. Go.
I'm truly shocked that the Buccaneers could go into New Orleans and lose by 11 points. I'm truly shocked that Tom Brady could jump all over the shop and throw 2 absolutely heinous INTs, including a pick 6. I'm truly shocked that Gronkowski only catches 2 balls and goes for about, 13 yards or something like
Not
that.
even, I don't
Absolutely trash. I'm surprised Mike Evans got swallowed up by Marshawn Lattimore. I'm surprised that they lost. Psych. I'm not shocked. I called it. And you're going to see this. I know the Saints are a good team. I know they're at home.
You can't just call that. Saints are like one of the best teams in football against a team with a new quarterback and all these new pieces.
Did you see anything to suggest that they'll be any good at any stage?
Here's a fun fact for you. Tom Brady's lost 3 week 1 games. In all of those 3 years, they've gone to the Super Bowl. Am I worried? No, not at all.
Here's a fun
I
fact,
am not
Schnars.
worried
Here's
at
a
all.
fun fact, Schnars. What was his age?
Mate, it doesn't matter.
What
you
uni-
can't
It
just
does
put
matter.
the age
What
card
uniform
out there.
was he
43.
wearing? What uniform
They're going to
was he
get...
wearing?
I have zero worry about with how the Buccaneers performed.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Got
that.
pretty cranky that he didn't get a couple of pass interference calls that he
Oh, a
usually
little
got
bit
in New
angry.
England.
Like
Maybe-
Gronkowski, you say...
Maybe it's
he didn't-
menopause.
Refs don't like Tampa Bay as much as they like New England.
Might be menopause.
You chat crap about Gronkowski, but he
awful.
blocked really well. He was, and
he
you
got
have to block
targeted
well when you're
3
playing.
times. They didn't even use him.
Is he playing tackle?
He's there as a PR stunt at this point. He got targeted 3 times. He was pathetic.
I'm waiting
no
for.
bumps. They're going to be they're next.
I'm waiting for Gronkowski to power bomb Bruce Arians through a table or something. That would be entertaining.
All our WWE fans are really loving that gag every time you run it.
Jack Mediger loves it.
So they're next for the Bucks. You got
Tell you
the
what, if
Panthers,
they don't beat the Panthers
Broncos,
this week,
the Chargers, and the Bears, they could be 4-1.
We shall see.
Very easily could be 4-1.
very easily.
We shall
They
see.
played like trash, and you're going to say very easily.
I think there was a lot of disconnection. You called it Mike Evans before. Brady played trash.
Yes.
He did not play good. Even Bruce Arians called him out.
Bruce Arians called him out hard as
Yeah.
well. He's solely put the blame on him for both of those picks.
And
Bill would never done
It's
that.
probably every right to. Mike Evans couldn't get anywhere near the ball. We Lattimore had him smothered. Gronkowski, he blocked well. He looks like he's not as physical as maybe he once was, so he takes some time to build back up. But
but I thought he was the greatest tight end ever.
okay, so one bad game takes away from that.
I don't remember Travis Kelce only being targeted 3 times.
Mate, if I go back into the record books and dig up the stats and compare these two, that's not a fight you're going to win.
All right.
Anyways, so the point is, Saints played well.
There's a bit of tension in
Drew
this room at the moment.
Brees didn't play well. He didn't play well, and the Saints still put up 34 points. He didn't have a great game.
All right. I think
Kamara had a great game.
maybe we can all agree here and kind of just trying to diffuse the tension that's just manifested in the room. We'll put a bookmark in this and we'll take it out next week. And if the Buccaneers, who have they got? Chucky?
Panthers.
They've got the
I
Panthers.
just called it. I said they got Panthers, Broncos, Chargers, and Bears. They could be 4-1 quite easily.
I guarantee
If they're 2-3 after those 4 games, that'll be 5 games played. I'd be starting to be worried.
All right, fair enough too. Hey, let's accelerate through these last 3 a little bit because we're
Yep.
just getting a bit pressed for time. Rams, Cowboys, new stadium, Schnaz's favourite Instagram page.
Oh, the SoFi Stadium. Gee, it looked good.
The LA, it looked fantastic on TV or on YouTube or wherever you're watching your highlights or whatever
NFL
else.
Network.
NFL Network, of course. Big shout out to those boys. Rams 20, Cowboys 17. I was sorry to lose a tip on this one. Bit of pass interference as we touched on earlier at the end there to kind of take away the opportunity of maybe seeing some OT in the first week of football this year. Takeaway points, Chucky?
What you should note here, NFC West started 3 wins and 1 loss, and the only loss was to another NFC West team. As we predicted, the NFC West is the best division in football, and that has stood true as. They were better than the Cowboys. They should have beaten the Cowboys by more. Cowboys' offense looked out of sync.
Their defense looked worse.
Right. Yeah, defense didn't look good.
Aaron Donald looked every bit
was
of the
a beast.
99.
4 tackles, 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. Does whatever he friggin' feels like, quite frankly.
Yep.
Schnaz?
I'm still getting over this Saints and Buccaneers.
Oh,
We didn't get to touch on the Saints, and I'm not happy about it. But we can get past that.
Well, the Saints are going to win a lot of games.
Kamara played unbelievably well.
Oh, we're backing up.
He played. Breeze didn't play a great game.
You
at
can't
all.
let it go.
And Kamara played well, and he deserves that.
All right, we'll give Kamara his
He
props.
signed that big deal. Their defense played well. Like Lattimore,
was
Janoris
healthy.
Jenkins, they played their defense played well. So their defense, on top of this offense, when it gets firing, when Drew Brees decides to show up,
Yeah.
No, the Saints
They're
are
gonna
the
be
most-
an
the Saints are the most
unreal
complete
team.
roster in the
Yeah.
NFC, no doubt.
Do you feel better now that you've gone back and got your points?
yeah,
out?
because we had our biff about the Buccaneers, but then we just skipped over the
Okay,
Saints like
because
they're
we-
irrelevant.
we
They're
put-
one of the best teams in football and going to be a Super Bowl contender, and you two have just gone,
we're poo-pooing the Buccaneers. That's just standard practice. Now,
But sorry, back onto the Rams.
Thank
I thought
you.
the Rams should have won by more.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Jared Goff looked a lot better than he looked
did.
for the majority of last
He did.
season. Controlled the ball a lot better. I think I called Cam Akers to be my breakout. Nah, it didn't really
Didn't look
happen.
great.
Quite
no.
explode, did he?
Yeah.
Nah, didn't really go well. But I think though that they're going to take the ball out of Goff's hands a bit more. They had another running back who ended up having more carries than Akers.
Yeah,
as
quite
well.
surprising. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Tell you what though, Blaze.
What's that, mate?
Gee, Dak looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, I might have missed the mark on
Typical
that one.
Dak.
I thought
did he look better than Wentz in your opinion?
no.
I can't talk to you when you keep mispronouncing things.
It's hard. It's hard. You need a bigger.
No, he didn't. Oh, though, did you see Zeke's new tattoo?
Oh, feed me.
Feed me on his stomach. Now, it's been spoken about before. In 30 years' time, that tattoo may age horrendously.
They do reckon.
No, it's perfect. When he gets a belly like yours,
Oh.
it's just going to be like, pulls up his top. Load it up. Load up the gut.
He's already got a belly like mine. If he has a belly like his coach, Mike McCarthy, that's when he's going to have trouble.
Yeah, he's going to be well fed.
When the stretch marks start coming through it. Hey, Giants Steelers in a game that was, a bit back and forth for a little while there. Danny Dimes threw a couple of nice balls to your breakout player,
Darius Slayton.
But the Steelers get it done with a really good defensive performance.
Steelers D was lit.
Yeah.
Devin Bush, who I also said was a breakout player, lit.
I think we all called that, though. We were all firmly on the Steelers.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, hang on. No, stop the press. Take me back. Who's got a top 10 offense in the NFL?
Oh, the New York Giants.
Oh, the New York Giants. The New York Giants have put up 16 points.
On the Steelers,
hang on.
one of the best defenses, isn't it?
One of the best defenses did make the playoffs last year. That's okay.
So
how did
hang on. Duck Hodges and Rudolph,
I haven't finished.
and they still had an 8-day
I haven't
record.
finished. How was your running back, Saquon?
My running back.
Yeah, your running back.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
a bandwagon fan. You love him.
Yeah, the key thing about bandwagon teams is they win.
and you can get off them whenever you see fit.
Exactly right.
And I guess
Saquon did not play well.
Well, Big Ben
got
ran
outrushed by Big Ben.
Danny Dimes threw a few nice balls, and that first touchdown he threw to Slayton was a really nice. And then he comes out in the second half and throws 2 interceptions.
But that's a young man still learning his trade, and kind of, I guess he's got to
I
find
like
his
him.
feet.
Tell you what, though, Blaze, you don't see many top 10 offenses only put up 16 points.
All right, well, we don't have to harp on it too much because, again, the sample size is still...
Hold on a minute. Who was wearing the clown hat before for their guarantee
You
losing?
should be wearing a clown hat for saying the Giants were a top 10 offense.
I think all their
Pedestrian.
pieces there,
Yeah.
they have the pieces with Slayton stepping up as well.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Offense.
Oh, not going to have that
Very
from that
stiff.
side of the table.
Very stiff. All right, boys, put your swords away. Broncos Titans, last game of the week. My best bet for the weekend was the
Do you want it?
Broncos. Was the Broncos to beat the Titans
Fits in your head much better.
in Mile High. I have a normal sized head. Now, no one told Stephen Koskowski
Stephen Gostkowski is
that
clearly
he's
a
trying,
big listener.
that he's trying to win the game.
He might be our number one fan.
He was pulling him, he was sliding him, he just couldn't make good contact until the very end when he decided, okay, they're going to call me out for match fixing if I don't hit this one. And so we did. They walk out of there 16-14 victors in Mile High. They'd be ecstatic with that. Key takeaways, Schnars, maybe, if you've got anything for us.
Key takeaways, he would have been sacked in the morning if he'd missed that one too.
I think you're probably right. He'd be sitting on the scrap heap with Randy Bullock, your mate. So,
Nah, besides that, Derek Henry didn't have the best first
No.
3 quarters.
no, he didn't.
But
he
when
struggled a
it
little bit.
mattered on the last drive, he was an absolute beast, and he pretty much put him in a position to kick that field goal single-handedly.
Yeah, he did. And I think, like we kind of
How was
touched on,
Locke? I didn't say much of this game. How was Locke?
up and down.
Up and down.
Yeah.
Not enough to warrant being called a rock star.
Okay.
As he
Yeah,
was
the
tired
lock
of
is
it.
not a rock star.
That's right. But hey, boys,
We
as
can work with that.
We can work with that for sure. I had a really good time stepping through those and having a bit of a laugh. Schnazi, 11 tips out of 16, leads the leaderboard. Again, Chucky wallowing away in third place on 9.
Give Matt the clown out.
And I'm smack bang in the middle on 10. And
Still need to get into our Thursday night preview here,
we
Blaze.
do need to get into our Thursday night preview. So that's the weekend review. Now, if you're wondering what's kind of going on here, to help us with us scheduling and making sure we get out to you boys consistently, we've made a few changes. You would have noticed tonight we've got a one consistent camera angle. We're also moving a preview of the Thursday night game into our review show to try and aid our ability.
Just to make sure you get it before the game happens.
Exactly right. So,
'Cause
hey,
we do all have full-time jobs outside of this.
we're not...
Office Works, they run a hard
Office
shit.
They
Works
do.
will not give you a moment's rest. Likewise, my place of employment, which will not be getting mentioned publicly. The Browns v Bengals. That sounded
circus.
that sounded way more sus than it meant to. I'm just not saying it for legal purposes. Browns. Browns.
And you've made it worse.
Browns.
Wait, say one more thing.
In my office. No, I'm not going there. Browns v Bengals.
He works in defence. Can't
Browns.
be mentioned.
That's right. Yeah, contracting. Browns v Bengals.
Oh,
Browns v Bengals on
works with
Thursday.
a squad of men.
Down Mexico way.
Stop. We're running out of time. Browns v Bengals Thursday night. Joe Burrow, the lights are going to come on for the first time. Myles Garrett is an angry man, and he's been known to get violent.
Do not take your helmet off, Joe.
Is there much to look at in this game, Sam? It's not going to be a great round in general. We'll get to that in
it's
another
the Battle of
episode.
Ohio.
Battle of Ohio.
The Buckeye battle. Oh, I don't know. The Browns would want to make up for a pretty pathetic effort in week
You'd
one.
think they'd be smiting a little bit.
But I don't know, mate. Does Joe get a win here in week 2? Schnars?
It's hard to say.
If you had asked me this 7 days ago,
No.
I would have said Browns by at least 2 scores.
Yep.
I'm now going Browns by a field goal.
Right, so it's
Okay.
real close, real flip of the coin type
And
stuff.
this is in Cleveland as well.
Yep.
Jesus.
I think Joey Burrow, he does seem to have a bit of a sense of occasion. And like that's obvious.
And the refs don't.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I'm
But
going
you
to go
know-
and Liam. I'm going to take Bengals.
I'm thinking.
Do you reckon he
Bengals
heard too
too.
much during the week? Like his coach, you could actually understand him for once. And is this too much going through his
Oh,
Wait,
mind?
gone back to this.
what does Ed Ogeron sound like, Mars? Just
I think the fans
for
know.
for records purposes.
The
Yeah, okay, I'm taking the Bengals on that.
Okay.
Schnars, any danger of your tip, or are we just gonna?
I said the Browns by a field goal.
He
I
did.
did. Oh,
He
you
did
did
say the
too.
Browns by
Sorry,
3.
that's my mistake. My mistake. I'm a bit rattled now.
Plug the socials.
Do you want me to do it? Because I'm on the speed wobbles a little bit here.
Okay, so Slim Slam Bandwagon Fan on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, SSBF Podcast, Spotify and YouTube, obviously back to the same, Slim Slam Bandwagon Fan, and shout out once again to our new major sponsor, the Jersey Cartel.
Thank you, good sir. We really appreciate the support. I think anyone that has any kind of want/need for any sports apparel, especially the NBA and the NFL gear, go to the Jersey Cartel.
We'll
on
showcase
Facebook.
it one week.
100%. We'll get some kit on and make sure you see the actual quality that this stuff is. I was going to go a different direction then, but
Nicely
this stuff,
saved. Nicely
this
saved.
Yes,
stuff is
slam it.
really nice. Slam
He's
it,
been
send us
slammed.
out, baby.
He's been slim, I've been slammed. That's the Bandwagon Fan. Good night.